Formula One. So before we came on here, I did see on the
Have a guys
on the
a nice chat.
Twitter sphere that Lewis Hamilton is taking over part ownership for the Broncos. I know you mentioned that Elway was looking to sell some of his share, but I don't know why I don't see. It's such a strange fit for Lewis Hamilton getting into the NFL of all sports.
I think you're in more than anything.
Yeah.
Hey, someone's selling. I want to be a part of it. I don't really care.
It also could be one of those things where like it unlocks a couple other business arrangements now that he's into the NFL.
That's fair. Yeah, that's
Interest
fair.
in like more American sports.
Exactly.
Stuff.
Maybe a little bit more sponsorship here, a little bit more sponsorship there. Two
exactly.
races getting added. Well, Austin just getting added, then the Vegas being added might be involved more in the States. Don't hate it for him.
Yeah, and so the first thing that came into my mind was, what does this mean for his future? And I don't want to tease anything. I'm going to get into a little bit with the KOT, but what does this mean for him next year? Is this a sign of more to come, or is it just diversifying your portfolio?
I think it was either this past weekend's press conferences leading in or the week before. I can't remember now with the back-to-back races. He was asking about, in 5 years when you're still racing, he gave up.
How old is he
here in 5 years? Like 37?
30. No, he's older than that. I think he's 38 this year.
So
I want to
not
say.
much older. I was expecting a 41.
So 38 this year. So
You know what? He might
now.
be 39. Sorry, keep going. I'll look it up. Keep going.
So I think he's got a couple years left. It's not imminent. Like we lost Sebastian Vettel's just kind of finishing it out this year. And him, Alonso are kind of part of that old guard that is hanging on, but there's very few less of them.
Yeah, he's 37. You're right. You know more. You know more wheel than I do.
We have a new F1 guru on this podcast.
Yeah, get out of here, Darnell.
Well, and speaking of Alonso, that move to Aston Martin, it's surprising considering how crap the car is. He's going from an Alpine to an Aston. The multi-year contract that was leaked, that's what shocked me. And if he's already making decent coin at Alpine. You can only imagine he's getting paid more as he's getting older. What's Aston's angle here? Like, I personally don't understand what they're trying to accomplish by bringing someone so old for more than one season.
Stay afloat, I think.
I
don't think they really. So one thing I was kind of thinking about is because they're one of the few, like Alpine doesn't do anything besides like F1. Like I don't know. There's not a brand I'd recognize outside of F1.
It's the racing brand for Renault. It's not big.
Yeah, exactly. So, but Aston Martin still has to sell road cars.
They do.
Not a lot, but they need a face. And they needed Vettel for that to be kind of part of that. Stroll doesn't know it because everyone doesn't like him.
True.
But like Lawrence Stroll's job is not only make this racing team, it's also promote that brand.
Good point.
So they can have a veteran guy in there for even 2 years, whatever multi-year contract means. It can go a long way on and off the track.
That's a good point.
I think I went down a very, very, very deep rabbit hole with this because I was asking the same question, D. And I think Aston Martin might not be as far away as we think they are.
Far away from
Sell
what?
me on
Ninth?
this, because
No, I think
I want to hear what you have to say here.
so. They have,
guy.
like I was reading into it, and like they have a lot of work, but he didn't come over to come ninth. Like he came over to win, and something told him that Aston Martin was better than Alpine. So a guy with that much experience around saying, hey, I have no faith in these guys, and how quickly that deal got done because they were trying to get the young buck
Piastri.
to take the seat. But Vettel retired on, Tuesday, and he was signed by Friday? Like, both parties really wanted this, and there had to be a conversation that Aston Martin was like, you're my guy and I'm yours.
I think the dollar signs for the conversation.
Yeah, I think it's a bit. So
When we revisit this,
I think Alpine wanted him out. I think Alpine wanted to move on to someone younger. I think they want Piastri because Piastri's just wasting away, right? Not driving, he's wasting away, and he I think has more upside than Ocon does. So I think it's kind of a bit of a mutual thing where they want Alonso out. Alonso wants the coin. Aston Martin had a seat. I don't believe he thinks Aston's better than Alpine. We still have the cost cap.
I really think that, and I simply I wouldn't be surprised with the new regulations coming that Aston Martin contends.
coming when?
And you, well, in 2027 or whatever.
That's 3 years. He's not going to be here in 3 years.
He's not going to be here in
Dude,
3
it's
years.
2022.
Let
He's
the
not
old
gonna be here
man
2026.
cook. Let's just let the old man cook.
They won't have him in 2026.
We'll see.
He's already 42, I think.
We'll see. No, he's 41.
Is he 41? So he'll be 45.
He's gonna be the oldest racer to ever win it.
It'll be interesting.
So let's get into the race. Hungarian Grand Prix.
No.
And I think the way I framed it last week still applies here, right? The good, the bad, and the ugly? I think it still works.
Yeah.
Like Mercedes, second and third, they're still good. Bad, Checo again, same thing. Poor qualifying. Finishes fifth, luckily, based on Ferrari strategy. And Ferrari's strategy, they are back to being ugly. Specifically, their strategist.
So when they're the three on the podium are laughing at they have hards on them in like the winners, that little weird winners room kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know it's bad.
Yeah.
Like it's been bad, but it's getting like ridiculous. Like, come on.
So, okay, let's.
Sorry, Kyle's got
Kyle,
something.
get it out because let's. You want to talk quality first, or just go right into Ferrari right now? What do you want to do? You tell me. Ferrari,
No, we
man.
can talk quali about. We can talk quali.
Let that fester for you a little bit.
Yeah, well, like shout out George Russell for winning his first pole. That was really cool to see.
Yep. What about Gotifi? Gotifi putting the fastest time in FP3, and
That
then
was absurd.
wild.
being, I think, the only person ever to put in a purple sector in his final run in Q1 and still finish 20th. And for those who are listening, purple sectors, he went the fastest in a sector. There's 3 sectors in a lap. He went the fastest in the first sector and still came 20th. How is that possible?
He's so.
When I
bad.
saw him
He's so
the
awful.
first and the third practice there, I honestly had to refresh my app like 2 or 3 times. I was like, did like no one else go out? Like, was there like rain that canceled it, or like
Is this
did
like
something had
Is
to
this
have
just like a
happened.
driving practice run for Latifi?
Yeah, exactly. They told him it's the race.
I think the big shocker was Checo going out in Q2 in 11th. Like, they know they put him out. They put him out on used tires, which again, that was a weird strategy call by the team. But Q2 couldn't even make it into Q3, and like he's just been awful. I think the past couple of weeks here, he's not showing any form at all.
As soon as he won
Not at
it,
all.
he's kind of mailed it in.
He's kind of melded in. Yep, I agree.
Absolutely. He kind of had there's that weird kind of tension a little bit in the team.
Yeah.
Then he won, and since then he's been an afterthought.
It's Max by
Yeah.
himself again. It's how it used to be.
Like it's just 3 dogs racing now. That's
Basically. And then Max had that engine failure in Q3, so his MGUK put kaputs. Ended up coming 10th, so only 1 spot ahead of his teammate. But you saw that he won the race, and Perez was nowhere close. So, yeah, I mean, and then the Ferraris, they looked fast all weekend long.
They look great.
Fast,
They look great on
fantastic.
Saturday. They came 2nd and 3rd.
And like you said, George, out of nowhere, Mr. Saturday puts it on pole. Where'd that pace come from? That was incredible.
Yeah,
That was incredible.
wicked. But like I was like low key happy for him, and like I was just like I'm very comfortable with George 1 and then the Ferraris 2, 3. Like that would have
them
been
next to
fine.
each other? Oh, you were
Yeah.
comfortable with that?
Yeah, like I was like that's fine. We don't have to win the race. 2, 3's not bad. Off we go.
Outscore Ferrari, outscore Mercedes, outscore Red Bull. Yeah. That's
Good
not
to go.
bad.
Easy peasy.
And
Easy
then
game.
Norris popping his McLaren up into 4th, and then went straight backwards in the race, but
Oh,
just
Yeah.
plummeted immediately.
I thought that I saw the 4th. I was like, all right, big turnaround for my boy Lando there, and nothing.
Yeah, listen, I think he got everything out of that car. It's just not very fast. It has no race pace. It has no race pace.
Well, you're seeing that
So-
with Danny Rick still.
Where did he finish? He finished out of the points, didn't he?
Oh yeah,
Or
he
did
did.
Yeah, he was like 15th or something
14th
down
or
there.
something like that.
14th? Yeah, jeez.
There's a very nothing race from
15th.
them
You're
as a
right.
team.
15th.
It was a very nothing race, it seemed, for a lot of people. Like, you didn't really notice a lot of guys outside of the top 6, effectively, I think, right?
Well,
And the Alpines fighting each
Yeah,
other,
I was
too.
going to say, like, at the start with Max and the Alpines, like, that was good. And then all of a sudden it was Ferrariing himself. And there you go, Max.
Doing
Cheers,
what
man.
they do best.
Cheers.
So let's get into the race, right? So Russell, Leclerc, Sainz, they kind of take off. But it all kind of came together with It all came down to strategy. Like this, for everyone listening and those maybe who've watched, it wasn't a great race necessarily.
No.
It was just
It had
interesting
like
because of the
15
strategy.
minutes of like really cool moments.
Yeah.
And it was like right in the middle, and then we got the safety car at the end, and we're like, oh, well.
Yeah, that kind of nullified it. But
The safety car was like, ooh, if there's 2 laps left, this would have been cool.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's like 1.5.
yeah. So, I mean, because I guess it was just starting to sprinkle, and, maybe we got something crazy like the Russian Grand Prix last year where Norris was winning and went off the track because he didn't. Anyways, we didn't get that. So, let's get into the blunder. Let's get into the Ferrari blunder. So, I'll walk everyone through it, and then you guys can kind of give me your live thoughts here. So, both Ferraris start on the mediums, and the Red Bulls started on the softs, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
It is not fine because I know what you're going to say next.
What am I going to say next?
That why did they pit so early to not just go with the softs?
This guy knows what it is. So it was Max came in first on 16 from softs to mediums, and immediately after on lap 17 they bring in Carlos Sainz.
You have another 6 laps on the mediums. Burn them.
Burn him. What was the point of?
Come
You
on.
should have just started on the softs then. And had the pace.
And you're already getting the undercut down on you. Like you've already fucked up.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So they leave Charles out, which was the right thing to do. You leave Charles out, let him use the mediums to their natural end, and Checo comes in on 18, all good, or 17, whatever, all good. So at this point, it still feels like advantage Ferrari. Charles is out front. He should still comfortably win because Russell just didn't seem to have the pace. They have track position, equal strategy, all good. Then Max comes in on lap 42.
Which was interesting. That was early.
It felt early. Yeah. So he went 16 to 42, and then he'd have to go 42 to 71 or something like that on the mediums. Cool. Okay. Whatever. And and this is where it all goes sideways. For some dumb reason, on fresher tires, because Leclerc came in on 22 to go from medium to medium, with 20 laps into that stint, and Max had just done 26 laps, he comes in for hard tires. And I want to say one thing before you guys jump in. Pirelli provides the teams with a guideline strategy, various strategies and alternative strategies based on tire degradation and race pace and everything. And this is courtesy of Virtual Statman on Twitter if you want to check him out, people. Pirelli, not even Pirelli, recommended a medium hard strategy. And we already saw it with the Alpines. The hard tire was horrendously slow.
I don't even know if that's the right word. Like, it was so bad.
They were undrivable. They were undrivable tires.
Yeah.
Undrivable.
It just wasn't the right... It just didn't make any sense.
You know what's the worst part? Is people who don't know, you drive on Friday for your practice and you drive on Saturday. Guess what Ferrari didn't practice with? Hard fucking tires. Like, what are you even doing?
Max did his lap out to the starting grid on hard tires. He rated into the team and said, these tires are so bad, start me on the softs. Because they were going to start him on the hards and I believe Checo on the mediums. He said, these tires are so bad, start me on the softs. I don't want to drive on these tires. And they listened to him. But the strategists at Ferrari, thinking they're smarter than everyone, every other team knew it was garbage. Pirelli knew it was garbage. The commentators were like, are they on hards? What? Are they on hards? What are they
saw
doing?
the white
They
band.
sounded like they were like, wait, what? Like, they're like, no, that can't be right. Like, those are mispainted mediums.
So Leclerc comes out. He's piss poor slow. He can get no temperature. He's all over the track.
It's
just starts going
two.
backwards.
He's yelling at them.
He's apoplectically mad. And he went from, I think when he came in, he was in first or second. I can't remember where he pitted from.
Yeah, I forget too.
Fell back to 6 behind way behind Checo. And they had to pit him a third time on the soft compound tires, and he still couldn't make any progress. He still couldn't catch Checo, who was on way old mediums.
They shot themselves in the foot right then and there.
Awful.
One thing I actually learned this weekend, though, was you have to use two different compounds.
Yes,
I did not know that before. So when they went to hards, I was like, oh, like, why aren't you just putting the mediums on again? And then they said that, and I was like, okay, that makes sense. But, like, everyone knows the hards aren't good. So
Strategy for Leclerc should have been medium, soft, medium. Or medium, medium, soft.
medium,
Because
and
he
try and
started on
overtake
mediums.
Russ. Like, if you know George is starting on softs, why don't you start on softs and either try to do an undercut on him or try and pass him early?
The Ferraris had such good race pace that the medium was probably actually the right strategy for them to start on because they can just outlast Russell, keep track position. And
yeah, that's fair. And plus,
give
they didn't know when rain was
flexibility.
coming. That's fair.
And when you start on softs, the field doesn't have as much field spread. So when you come out, you typically come out in traffic. And we saw it with Checo. Checo came out in traffic, and it was difficult for him to overtake. If you start on mediums, there's enough time for field spread, so you can kind of pit in a window where you don't have a lot of traffic.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
So it was fine, but they outthought themselves. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing.
It's just
the
goofy.
race strategy guy should get fired. Their principal should get fired. Their pit crew should just get replaced because they had like a 5-second pit. I'm like, what are we doing here?
Both Sainz's stops, I think, were like 4.5, 5 seconds.
Yeah, I was like, what
Twice.
are we doing? And they got stuck on the same wheel. Like figure it out, guy.
But on this first
You're outta
one,
here.
they got the tires on, and then they just didn't drop the jacks.
I know.
He was just sitting
like,
there.
man, like honestly, like I feel I kind of like I'm trying really hard to get into F1 and like latching on. And I said Ferraris were my guys because Charles is my guy. But oh my god, I just signed myself up for misery. On miseries.
We should have played Find Kyle on that F1 team.
I was,
we done
and that's
fun.
actually in
We
my
let-
notes. I was like, Charles is now my favorite driver, but if we want to launch a Kyle finds an F1 team, I'm in.
This might be an F1 off season.
But guess what? Ferrari's not it.
I'm with you now with firing Bonotto. I wasn't before, but then he came out in a post-race interview and he said, and it's part of the quote, and I don't want to radio him or anything, but part of his quote was, "There's nothing to change. We just need to look at what we did wrong this weekend." And in my mind, I'm like, yeah, if it was a one-off, sure. You don't want to completely change your culture, whatever. You don't want to overreact. This is a trend, Bonotto. You have big things you need to change.
This is a scary trend because there's always been the jokes for years. Ferrari's tried, but when no one has faith in them. Leclerc looks defeated out there. He is the saddest man. I hope he's got about a month off here. I hope no one talks to him from Ferrari
I
for
really
like
hope
2
so.
weeks.
Yeah.
He needs to just get away. Don't even think about racing. Don't even drive a car. Have someone else drive you. Just avoid cars.
He lives in Monaco.
Go to the beach.
Just boat. Everywhere boat.
Yeah. We've seen what Monaco looks like. You can walk. It looks like a walkable city.
That's true.
So
I
don't
read,
get in a
I
car.
read this.
Don't think about
I read
it.
this one tweet too. It was like the ghost of Vettel or something taking its revenge on Ferrari because I guess they really did him wrong. Like I wasn't paying attention there, but I didn't deep dive into it. Why or what?
In his last season with Ferrari, Leclerc he had come over from, at that point it was Sauber, before Sauber became Alfa Romeo. And he was the up and coming, he was the Max of Ferrari. He was the next one. And in his last season, they basically just stopped paying attention to him. Like there are times where he would radio call in to the team and no one would respond. Oh no one would respond. It was like the most bizarre thing. They just disowned him halfway through the season. He was having an awful year, but it was really uncomfortable to watch that season play out. But yeah, I can see that the ghost of Vettel.
They were trying to move on pretty early.
Oh
there,
yeah,
I guess
they already had it. They were already ready to bring in Sainz.
Yeah.
And yeah.
They're like, all right, bye.
Yeah. So Max cruises to a win. Hamilton, a very quiet but well raced second place.
you started P7 or something too.
He started P7.
It was a good run.
He got Russell there. Russell just didn't have enough to keep him at bay.
Yeah.
It didn't seem there's any strategy behind, let's let Russell or Hamilton go. Hamilton just outraced him when it was kind of them beside each other for those maybe on the third or fourth last lap.
He manages tires better, and I think that just gave him a little bit more pace at the end of the race over Russell. And Russell couldn't hold him off. So George starts pole, finishes third. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all.
No, points,
very competitive.
podium.
Absolutely. And Sainz comes in for a fourth, just getting overtaken by Russell there at the end. Again, nothing really wrong that Sainz did. I think he raced a decent race.
So, I know we've been talking kind of how the last couple of weeks, and we've seen it, that Sainz is more aggressive with his own team.
Yeah.
If they said Sainz should come in for Haas, would he tell him to go jump off a bridge?
He wouldn't have a choice because he was the one who came in first for those mediums, the second set of mediums. He would have been. I shouldn't say he didn't have a choice. He did stay out longer for the side. You know what? Maybe he would have. Maybe you're right. Maybe he would have just.
He would have been like, that's insane. He would have pushed
You're
back,
right.
I think, a bit more at least and be like, are we sure about this? Charles just like, okay.
I think you're right. Yeah.
I think that's just a trend we've seen from him the last couple weeks.
It's true.
Where he's more, I don't know what exactly.
He's almost like
bullish or anything.
He's like almost his own strategy guy.
He's in charge of it. He wants to be in charge of his own destiny.
Yeah.
But that's a great way to put it. And I think it's also, he's just seeing what happens when you don't. He
That's
sees
it.
his teammate
Well, he
getting
looks across
screwed
the
by his
room,
own
right?
team. He's like, exactly. He's like, oh,
Hard
I don't want
pass.
that to be me.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Hamilton has more podiums than Leclerc. Wrap your head around that. Hamilton has in that awful Mercedes. Well, awful Mercedes. It's obviously better now.
Awful from the start.
Awful
I
from
think
the
it's good now.
But the Ferrari
Yeah.
was leaps and bounds better than him at the beginning.
Yes.
Hamilton
Yes,
has
yes.
more podiums than him. That says a lot about.
He's on a heater right now
Huge.
since
You know what?
Azerbaijan.
Bold prediction.
Okay, yeah.
Bold prediction coming in hot from the king of the take.
Love this.
Latifi gets more podium finishes than Charles Leclerc to finish the year. That's how bad they're. Like that's how
That's
bad
not a
Ferrari
hot
is.
take. That's not
That-
a
like,
hot
Ferrari stinks, man.
take. That's a drunk take.
I wish I was drunk.
Go Tiffy for podium.
Numb the pain.
Go Tiffy's not going to get a point this season.
I know. Obviously, it was a joke, buddy.
I know. Hey, look, go with this. Go Tiffy will get another point, and Leclerc's going to finish fourth. Or Tiffy will get a point. Leclerc's going to finish fourth.
Yeah. That could happen.
And Bottas, again, I know we kind of keep mentioning this, retired again.
Man,
Another
he-
retirement for the
The
Alpha.
only guy
Like, 2
retired
laps to
too.
go. On lap like 69 or 60 or something like that, just pulls
Yeah.
off to the side.
It's just more of a, I'm done. This car just isn't going to make another lap. All right, wrap it up.
All right. Anything
Well,
else
I-
F1 related?
Yeah, I wanna ask this question to two guys who know more about F1 than me. So, Alpine came out and said, "Hey, we signed the young gun." And then he comes out and says, "I understand that without my agreement, Alpine F1 have put out a press release this afternoon. I am not driving for them in 2023."
Wait, this is who? Piastri?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, when did this
Yeah.
happen?
Oh,
6 hours
this has
ago.
been a weird day.
This is 6 hours
I
ago.
was so busy. I didn't even know this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll read the
He
whole
basically
tweet,
said
quote
they signed-
unquote. I understood that without my agreement, Alpine F1 have put out a press release late this afternoon that I am driving them for them next year. This is wrong, and I have not signed the contract with Alpine for
He's a
2023.
Williams.
I will not be driving for Alpine next year. So where does he go? Williams?
He's already
Haas?
he's already signed a contract with Williams. Then that's because remember we talked about this before that it seemed like Latifi was out and Piastri was going to
Yeah.
replace him.
Yeah.
It would appear that he probably has already signed the contract with Williams. That sucks. You'd so much
Well, I
rather
saw,
be in an Alpine.
saw something.
Oh, 100%.
I thought like McLaren was coming in from the top rope with them or something like that. Like it's been. I think we're. It's been a very strange
been a busy,
day in the F1 Twitterverse, but
This is
I think
wild.
we're getting into silly season. So
So yeah, I just
we'll
wanted to
see.
mention this to get your guys' thoughts. So is it a consensus that he's already signed a contract with Williams, so he cannot sign with them?
So let's
if
do the
you
math.
will.
So Mercedes is locked up, Ferrari's locked up, Red Bull's locked up, McLaren technically is locked up. Like Ricardo hasn't walked away. AlphaTauri has both of them signed. Aston Martin has both of them signed. Alfa Romeo has both of them signed. Both of them signed. Alpine, we'll get to in a second. Who am I missing? Haas has both of them signed.
No, just one. No, Mick.
Oh, because Magnussen, Mick still, yeah. They're not going to drop Mick. I don't think they drop Mick for Piastri.
I'd be
They're both
shocked.
young. They're both
Yep.
young. That leaves Williams. And neither Albon or Latifi have contracts.
What about who's on the Yuki team? Is Yuki out? or in?
Gasly, they're both signed.
Okay.
I don't know.
I
if
don't
they
think
are,
Yuki
because,
is.
because I thought what they often do those like team graphics.
Yeah.
I think it had like a black mark over Yuki, and only Gasly was signed.
Fair enough.
but I don't remember.
See, I thought he was already signed. Okay, that could be. I don't know if they trade one young guy for another young guy. They usually just keep your own young guy for a few
And plus,
years.
you've already coached them up for the year. They know the car, blah, 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 you know?
Yeah.
It'd be surprising.
If you're not gaining a lot from someone, you might as well ride it out.
I think that's right. So I think Williams is the most obvious because Latifi's out. Like, I think we can say that with confidence, right? So
Yeah.
it makes the most sense for him to go there. Wow, that's crazy.
So, yeah. Wild day.
Yeah, it's been.
So who's in the
I
Alpine?
think
then?
very much. Mick.
Oh, that's
I think
spicy.
He's,
I
a
don't think-
he's a Ferrari Academy driver though, and they are Renault.
I think Mick's going to move. I don't know why. I don't know where he goes, but I don't think he's in a Haas next year.
Interesting. I think he's in a Haas, but I could say that's interesting. That's an interesting take.
At the same time, it all depends because I think Haas had a heater there in the middle, but they've kind of fallen back to earth the last couple weeks a little bit. So I think we got a little excited before we really knew what they were. So I think maybe he kind of got a taste of like the good life, so to speak. So maybe he wants some more. Maybe someone saw something out of him.
The good thing about, I'd rather, if I'm him, Haas, they've only had one upgrade. They're not as heavily invested into the car. Alpine is heavily invested into the team, into the car. Probably have more opportunity to grow there. You just kind of leave the Ferrari program, and I don't know if he's ready to do that. I don't know if he sees himself maybe taking over for Sainz one day.
Who else is in the Ferrari family besides obviously Ferrari?
So Alfa Romeo is part of the Ferrari family, and Haas have Ferrari power units. So they have that relationship, and historically they've kind of tried to get drivers into those two teams to help develop. So it's kind of a relationship thing.
Also, we didn't even talk about Max winning with one of the smoothest spin-outs I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was pretty.
That's how like it was so smooth, as you said, Kyle. It's more like I forgot it happened.
Same.
Because it didn't affect anything.
And
shocking.
I honestly laughed at it because I was like, Ferrari's so bad, this guy's just doing 360s in the middle of the track and still beating us. I was like, this is like the definition of embarrassing.